What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the reigning 212 Olympia champion, Keon Pearson. Now if you guys listen closely, how the audience reacted when Keon hit that front double biceps, that is the most appropriate reaction. When you see a physique, that's just one in a million. Now as a champion, he's doing such a great job. He takes a few months off from hard training, eating, dieting, and also he takes time off gear, cleans out the system to get ready for the next season. So he did exactly the same last year as well. And this year isn't any different. And let's just not ignore Keon's hard work to maintain this kind of physique even when he is off everything. He's still eating 6 meals a day, and that is why he's able to hold on to all that muscle, all that size. So Keon's front double biceps, that is probably the greatest front double biceps of the modern era. Maybe one of the all-time best. And this off-season physique comparison of him with Derek Lunsford, that tells us how great he is. And that insane illusion that he is able to create on the stage. Now, I am not saying that he's better than Derek, because Derek's back, that is just on a whole different level. Greatest back on the earth right now. But with this past Miss Olympia, Keon pretty much closed all the gaps in his physique, including the back double biceps as well. The only feedback that he got was that he needs more time to mature, to get more dense, and marinate all that new muscle, especially on his back. So Keon is gonna be an even more dominant champion next year, and he can be more dominant than Flex Lewis was during his prime. But do let me know what you guys think. Next up, we have an update from Carlos Thomas Jr. So as I said earlier, in a few of my videos in the last couple of weeks, the year 2025 is gonna be remembered as the year of the comebacks, and put Carlos in that long list of guys who are gonna be making a big statement in 2025. So Carlos has to be one of the most unique physiques that turned pro just a few years back. And I cannot help but say that the first couple of years of his pro career, they kinda got wasted in a sense that he turned pro at the end of 2021, and he has done only one show so far in the last 3 years, and that was Texas Pro last year. So his stance was that he wanted to test himself against 2 of the top 6 Olympians, Andrew Jacked and Hunter Labrada. This year he got really unlucky that he had a close death in his family that forced him to drop out of the race from this year's Arnold Brazil when he was prepping for this show all this time, and he was only like 5 weeks out. Plus, for those of you guys who do not know, he has been battling a health problem all this time, an unusual condition, ulcerative colitis, which actually worsens when he gets closer to the show. So the great thing now is that Carlos is working with Patrick Tour for the very first time for next year. And we have seen a guy like Keon Pearson totally change his physique after he started working with Patrick. The only thing that is missing from Carlos's physique, that is a well-developed back. But he has plenty of other strengths. And if he comes in peel, he is gonna qualify for the Olympia next year for sure. But do let me know what you guys think. How high can he place at the Olympia level? So here we have a very interesting comparison of the champion of the Big Man Weekend, Akim Williams, that is floating around all over Instagram, and that is the comparison of his back double biceps from 10 years ago versus now. Now it is exactly the same story as we saw with the former Miss Olympia, Big Ramy. So here is another interesting comparison of how Big Ramy's back, especially lower back, became absolutely non-existent at his last Miss Olympia. And the other picture, that is from back in 2013, the year Ramy made his Olympia debut. And maybe it is a similar case of a nerve damage, and once that occurs, it is impossible to grow muscle in that area, and it is even impossible to maintain that muscle you had before. So I specifically remember Akim Williams was in an accident back in 2022 when he said he had a very hard time prepping for Tampa Pro and then the Olympia as well. And that was like the worst version of Akim, and that is why he did not even place at the Olympia that year. So eventually he got the surgery done after doing the Arnold 2023, and this year we saw Akim bring his career's best conditioning. That being said, Akim's back double biceps, that is always gonna remain a very big weakness for him. But that being said, that is only just one shot. So props to him for looking so good at this year's Big Man Weekend. Now in my opinion, that conditioning even topped his 2020 Olympia look. And maybe Akim is gonna try some stem cell treatment, as Ramy did after his last Olympia in his back, and his back actually appeared much better in his last show, the Arnold 2023. Next up, we have the Olympia number 15, the champion of Mr. Olympia 2019, Brandon Curry, enjoying all this off time and staying healthy. So what does the future look like for a 2 times Arnold Classic champion and a former Miss Olympia after placing outside of the top 5 for the very first time since 2018? So the only hope that we have about Brandon Curry, and the only good thing that we saw in his physique, is that he was able to bring up his quads this year. So his legs looked a lot better, especially from the front, at the Olympia this year, compared to the last couple of years. And even then he dropped down 5 places from last year and finished 9th. Now on one hand, we can kinda say, and I think a lot of you guys will agree, that it is kind of an end of Brandon's career, especially in terms of the threat that he is to the top 6 at the Olympia level. Because the last time Brandon was lower than 2024, that was 8 years back. Plus, we also have to keep in mind the age is also catching up to him, and we don't know how long he can continue to prep for only a few months every year and continue to get ready for the Olympia every year. So this year, Brandon did the shortest prep ever he has ever done for the Olympia, and considering that still he looked so great, but it just wasn't dry enough for the judges to consider him for the first call out. Maybe next year, Brandon will go back to training with Abdullah, his former coach and trainer, and the guy who claims that Brandon can still be top 3 if he trains all year round and if he does a longer prep. So maybe next year can be different. Next up, we have an update from Dania Anderson, aka Black Panther, the classic physique pro and multiple times Olympian. So we are waiting for his announcement, whether he is staying in classic or he is switching over to the 212 class, because he was kinda disappointed by placing 3rd in back-to-back shows this year. So he did Tampa Pro and Texas Pro, but he just did not get the results that he was expecting. It is like he is a smaller version of the reigning 212 Olympia champion, Keon Pearson. He has the same height as well. The aesthetics as well as the flow, they are more or less the same as Keon. Although Keon Pearson is a lot bigger now, and he is a lot more muscular. So if Dania puts on more size, which is gonna take some time, I believe he is gonna be a force in the 212 as well, as the judges have now started to reward more aesthetic and more classic looking physiques like Christian Zagarella. So what do you guys think of this physique? Definitely one gifted athlete, and his size in the off-season, along with the flow that he has, that is just off the charts. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.